to Making the Brand, the podcast where marketing and pop culture collide. I'm your host, Brianne Fleming. I can't wait to chat about brands, boy bands, and everything in between. Because brands who have a pulse on pop culture can create adoring fans of their own. Welcome back to the Making the Brand podcast. I've got to say, as a podcaster, it really serves my own interest because I get to talk to such interesting people all the time and learn something new. And I know that's going to happen in today's episode because we're talking about something that I know very little about, which is video games and streaming and also Twitch, which is why I'm so glad to have my friend Joechuck here with us, aka the Fighting Wordsmith. We're going to get to what that means. But thank you so much for being here with me today, Joechuck.
Thank you for having me. I'm completely over the moon to be a part of this. I love your group.
And I know we've been trying to connect. We've had some Zoom happy hours and things, but now it's just us for you to bring me into your world a little bit and tell me about streaming and video game culture. We're gonna go down memory lane a little bit and touch on nostalgia because that's always a big part of my podcast, but we're also going to talk about the now and the future of video games and streaming. So first, I just want to let you introduce yourself, tell people about the Fighting Wordsmith brand and what that means and who you are and what you do.
Yeah, thanks. Joechuck, the gaming world knows me as part-time, and I decided to run what I had hoped to become an educational brand agency or branding center for smaller streamers, and I decided to call it the Fighting Wordsmiths. So anybody can be one. It's really just a kind of gamer way to say brand manager. At least I thought it was. Very early on, I have a history of gaming all my life. My poor wife has to deal with that. I got the dual monitor with the light up keyboards and all the nerdy stuff. But I mean, it really is a culture, and it really is a part of who I am. I have shirts that says part-time on it. It's me. So I'm happy to blend that with marketing and meet people like you and see what I can marry that's applicable to gamers and even sometimes translate it into gamer lingo. Because like I said, sometimes I say, that's boring. I don't care about that. It's like, actually you do, and you should, because they're coming for you. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, and I think you and I are alike in a sense that I grew up with my boy bands and my teeny bopper magazines and my CDs and everything, and I still live and breathe that a little bit as an adult, and I think there's a similar path if you grew up loving video games. So I want to hear more about how you grew up, how video games impacted your childhood, what platforms and consoles you were playing, and just how you got into it and how that's still staying with you in your adulthood.
So to answer that, I play all the time. Actually, MIT came out and said that time blocking is one of the best ways to be productive, especially for people trying to do a side business. And when you put that within the context of the pandemic, and I laughed at that because I've been doing that. I literally have my work computer and I have my gaming monitor, or in this case, now streaming setup, command centers. So I regularly take breaks from work to, lose myself in a game or hang out in someone's Twitch chat, catch up with my favorite streamers and my communities there. It's as easy as getting lost in a group text chain, just taking a break, face down. But I also time block and just walk away from screens for sure. I feel like I might be developing 3 tumors because I'm surrounded by monitors and my phone.
All the blue light.
I think there's like a lump in my head because I always have on a headband because there's like a little dip in my head. But it's a regular part of my life. It's something that I love sharing with my 2 sons and my wife as well, as much as they'll allow it. But it is a core part of who I am. I'm just not sorry about it anymore. I used to be kind of meek about it and kind of sheepish when I would meet strangers, but now it's just loud and proud here, and that's just a part of growing up in this community.
I resonate with that too. Everyone's always like, oh, boy bands, aren't those for teenagers? Why do you still like a boy band? Like, grow up. And I compare it to, you still love Marvel movies and Spider-Man and the sports that you grew up watching. You still root for your team on Saturdays. the musicians I love, they're still touring, they're still making music. Why is that any
Yeah,
different? And I
exactly.
think there's this stigma, I don't know if you would agree, but around video games as
Oh yeah.
also being childish. And
Mhm.
I think especially with Twitch, I know we'll talk more about it, but it's not as gosh, what's the word I'm looking for? It shouldn't have that stigma anymore. I
Yeah.
think with Twitch, there's even where you'll tell me more about it, but there's even a lot to be gained from a networking
Mhm.
and educational standpoint.
1,000%. And that's what the Fighting Wordsmith is for, really, is to help young streamers or new streamers of any age, honestly, understand that it is its own social platform. But more than Twitch as a brand, there's streaming in general.
Mm-hmm.
And again, as we move further and further into this unprecedented times, um, people are becoming comfortable consuming content digitally. People are having a routine, and in more than just a web page that opens up and you scan it. It's a community interaction. It's stopping by. It's cheers. So all of that is not new to me, and I definitely don't put my nose up to it. But it's, yeah. I mean, oh, you game all day, well, yeah. But I also have a house, 2 kids, I have a full-time job. My back feels fine. I mean, I sit down a lot, but I also work out. So balance, and I'm who I am. Deal with it.
Absolutely.
Just kind of who we are. I think we also got lumped in as geeks, and that generation of early gamers from the 70s and 80s. They're now kind of older boomers, or whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
And so now, me being born in '84 and growing up in the '90s and 2000s, now I'm becoming a proper old guy, adult gamer, passing the baton down. So we're only really 1.5 generations in, with the perception of gaming and how it integrates into someone's daily life.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of generations, I want to know what your early memories were of gaming. What was the first console you had? What was that game that first
Hmm.
game you had that you just knew that you loved it? Or what games and consoles do you remember going out and standing in line for hours to buy? I'm sure you have stories like that. So tell me about your childhood.
Yeah, so my gaming addiction started very young because my sister was 5 years older than me, and she was kind of passive with it. We played Mario, of course, uh, early '90s, very well late '80s, and it might have been Track and Field on Nintendo that had the actual trackpad where you had to run on, and you had like left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, had an A and a B
Mhm.
button. And I figured out that I didn't have to do that. I could just press the buttons really fast with my 2 fingers back and forth,
Yeah.
because smarter, not harder. Um, so there was that, and I remember some nights when my family was going through a split that my father would just play the game with us because that's how he related to us.
Hmm.
We would watch wrestling, cook dinner, and he'd say, "What do you want to do?" I go, "I don't play video games." I said, "Okay, I'll play some damn games." And he got into it.
Hmm.
I could see him. I could feel him get excited when he finished first, and he would like talk crap to me like, "Oh yeah, you suck." Um,
Yeah.
but so sharing those experiences as a family early on made it acceptable, and they just made sure that it was balanced with what I had to do growing up. Nintendo, and then to Xbox, and then as a young teenager, Final Fantasy VII was a very, very, very big game for me because of the epic, grandiose narrative and the graphics. And I think that was the first game that I saw a formal commercial for on
Hmm.
TV, which is interesting because it was in anime style, and that wasn't quite so popular yet for it to be. Let's put a commercial of this art style to American audiences, but they did it, and it worked well. And it's a not even a cult classic; it is a classic game for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, I'll never forget the craze when the original Xbox came out, and it was right before the holidays. I remember my brother had it on his Christmas list. I
Mm-hmm.
remember The Rock was actually like a spokesperson for it and
Yeah,
everything. It was a huge splash. So that's when I think of video games, I just think about that craze. And I'm sure it
yeah.
still goes on today. I don't have children, but is there something that's similar to that now? Is that gotta
Mm-hmm.
have it culture still happening in the video gaming world?
Absolutely, and it now just applies to adults. We just are kids with
Mm-hmm.
money now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a lot of overlap with tech industry, and custom PC builds, hardware that can support the ever demanding software requirements to run a game at max capacity for the
Mm-hmm.
sake of a game. People make gaming rigs. consoles, this next generation, for a few months there, they were saying, well, finally consoles are going to surpass PCs. So no more of this PC master race stuff. We're better than console gamers. There's little, internal wars, but the demand is always there. And establishing IPs and establishing series and, tying Mario to Nintendo, Master Chief to Halo, and, God of War for Sony, that doesn't go away. And that industry makes more money than Hollywood can ever dream of right now.
Oh, I bet.
Oh,
Yeah.
hands down.
Wow.
Hands down.
Well, you mentioned earlier that, there was a time in your childhood when you first got addicted to video games. And I think we can agree that some people are addicted and that video games have an addictive quality. What do you think it is about video games that people just can't get enough of? And why do we love it so much?
Sure. Firsthand. And I mean, let me know if I'm never answering the question. I don't like listening to podcasts and people are dodgy and long-winded, which is often what I can be.
Oh, you're perfect.
That's why I don't like it. I'm like, I do that. I don't answer that. So just don't be afraid to call me out. I'm an addict. Absolutely. It's just a part of my personality. But it's, like I said, it's like a smoker, or it's about balance. People become emotionally invested in different aspects of gaming. So physiologically, you may sweat, your palms get sweaty, your nerves, you get, jitter. When you're in a party chat or when you're on a team, you want to perform right at that. It's just like real life competition. It's engrossing. And I think some of the technology now reflects that with VR, where it's submersive or immersive. You got the headset, you got the headphones, and you see people walking into a TV and we're making videos laughing at them. But because they're so emotionally connected and committed to what's happening, you lose yourself in the game. Mm-hmm. And so to create that regularly over and over again in a positive way with a supportive community has been a very important part of my life. I have regularly established groups of gamers that we call clans for first-person shooters. So I've been clan leaders, and I talk to guys. It's just like modern-day pen pals, really. Chit-chat, talk about becoming fathers together, talk about life transitions and events. Just do it in a gamer way. So gaming demands that emotional investment. And if it doesn't pull it out of you, then you're probably not addicted to it, and that's cool. Mm-hmm. Or maybe you just haven't found the one that might make you whatever your flavor is. But there are certain triggers in social connectivity that's just inherent within gaming that I think we overlook. We think it's just nerds, beep, boop, beep, beep away. But it's, it's in our hearts. Really, it is.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like it's more than that. And I love that you touch on the emotions of it all, because I want to know what you think other industries and other brands can learn from the gaming industry. And I feel like emotion must be a huge part of it. Brands always need to tap into emotion. So is that one of them? And what other takeaways are there for other industries?
Yeah, definitely a lot to be learned from the gamers and from the people pitching to gamers, which is again why I started doing what I was doing, working with gamers on that end. I think we are becoming more of a formal demographic that's worth big brands and big business investing into. So as you all come into my world, I want to remind you that we're just people too, and it's news to you, but it's been neutral day one for us. That what's exciting and the metrics, the numbers are going up, and there's money to be made there, and influencers can be had.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, we've been here connected, and we found ways. So I think that as they learn this new demographic and other industries figure out what gaming is and how it can best serve them, don't forget the humanity in it, that we actually are people of community leaders now who are connected in the digital age, just like anybody else. Mm-hmm. Zoom call meeting memes apply to us too. We're just better at it because we have always been in party chat since as soon as we could. Long distance calls, I was making that because I was playing with this dude in Wales, playing Halo 2 with him back in 2007. Toll free, anytime. I didn't have to track my minutes. We just played online together. So there's a distinct humanity and connectivity that it does apply to gamers that brands and other industries should always remember before they just start going, you're a gamer, right? You like this, you like anime, you like comics. Yeah, let's go. And it's like, maybe if it's good. So
Yeah.
does that answer it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think one thing that I'd love for you to demystify is Twitch. I've been hearing a lot about Twitch, and is it, I mean, I want to know how you would define it. I really don't know much about it, but is it a place for brands also?
So the answer is yes, absolutely. And especially with some of the people that we see coming and going now as a part of Twitch as a company versus its competitors. I think the larger comment is that streaming is not just for gaming anymore. And what I'm always pointing towards, and maybe where you and I are in perfect lockstep, is educational content is always helpful, but on-demand, specific one-to-one educational content is the future. I have offered other people money to meet and just mentor me on things that I wanted to learn because I'm so used to that. I don't, and Twitch or streaming in general has allowed people to put a face to brands, whether it's a relative brand or not. SteelSeries is a perfect example of I'm cool with that social media team passively on social, but before seeing their faces and knowing who runs social media for them and understanding and relating to them with the way they run their socials, like, oh, that's a relatable post that must have taken a lot of work and research to do. I'm not just the recipient, fan of SteelSeries. Their social media presence is their logo. So, I mean, not to be sponsoring them, but it's just this. This is it's white and orange, and that's it. And now we have faces and we have names, and you know what I mean? So removing that barrier to entry, demystifying what Twitch is, it's not just for gamers anymore. It started because that was the point of entry. Brands like KFC have a channel. The U.S. Army has a channel. The NBA altogether put a channel up, and then its individual teams started running channels during the shutdown they had. They ran virtual games, like the LA social media PR team ran against the Denver PR team, and they broadcast that on Twitch. And then they fully integrated all of the big Jumbotron graphics into their Twitch stream. So when someone would score, they'd run the graphics, and they paid the people that used to be there courtside to comment to be in their stream. So brands are getting really creative with how they introduce this new platform to people who aren't familiar, but they're also trying to recreate that live in action magic. So there's a balance between that, because I can't reach and touch you, you know what I'm saying? But I can consistently create this vibe and energy, which is a very Gen Z way of thinking of it, but that really is what it's about, because that's their way of saying emotional connection. So brands are learning it. It's not just for games. The easiest, most obvious way now is Twitch investing heavily into music, and then artists now understanding it as a place that they can allow people to be flies on the wall, and then they can charge a premium for that. So it's not just self-promoting, going live and hoping someone likes your stuff anymore. Now it's, no, I'm a master of my craft, and you can talk to me directly if you find me when I'm live, and I will show you how I do it. I will show you how I made that beat. Timbaland just broadcasted and gave sneak preview for his new work with Justin Timberlake on Twitch.
Oh, wow. I would have tuned into that.
So now we're getting to the point, and he happens to choose Twitch as a platform. You're seeing other streamers of other competitor like Facebook Gaming, YouTube, even Trovo. You're seeing this happen where brands like Versus, which is a hip hop company, they have a .com, but they got popular off of Instagram lives, streaming Instagram lives. So they had Snoop Dogg and DMX go at it, and it was fun seeing those dudes almost in 60s try to rap these hardcore lyrics, and it's just like, y'all look like you're out of breath. Like, well, I mean, Snoop didn't, DMX did, but it's just nice to see that barrier gone. It's video, live, interactive, Twitter
more access,
blended with our YouTube search. So on-demand brands, and as they figure out more and more that it's a place for them, you create access and you find your audience there. But we also are becoming used to accessing them on those channels.
So, do you think being on Twitch will eventually be as commonplace for brands as being on Facebook or YouTube or Twitter? Or is it still a little bit
Mhm.
more niche for a certain type of brand or person?
I do, especially with people shifting in the
Mhm.
corporate world. The joke about, oh, we should remove overhead and we should go digital last year, and then the pandemic hits.
Yeah.
You're seeing this with live events. So I work with musicians for brand management, and I found like AE events and some other booking agencies around here. They were preparing their staff and their facilities to be pretty much blackout until 2022.
Hmm.
And I heard this 3 months ago. And so they started asking themselves, how can we recreate the magic? And so as artists, you see artists now going live consistently across multiple channels, providing insight and content. I'm working on this from home. I'm working on this from home.
Yeah.
Or we're going to broadcast a live session, come join. And then they now start figuring out how to charge for that. Go to this page to buy a link. So we're figuring out ways to monetize and create premium access, or just provide free connectivity or free connection across the board. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, it'll be interesting to watch. I know the pandemic has really put more focus on Twitch and more focus on live experiences. But why do you think it's interesting for people to watch other gamers game? Growing up, I liked watching my brother and my cousin play
Mhm.
video games. I would always sit on the couch and we would try to beat Robotnik and stuff together, and I would be cheering them on. But why is it interesting to watch complete strangers game, and how are these communities created that way?
Well, it's exactly what you said. And I did want to add on that for the last question, I kind of deviated. I did want to say when I brought up musicians going live all the time, I also meant conferences are going live. Comic
Yeah.
Con, E3, all of these things that used to serve gamers or the music and tech industry are now figuring out ways to make their product announcements live.
Hmm.
Okay. And then, so watching strangers is
Yeah.
exactly what you said.
Hmm.
If you can, in some type of way, as a user, hide behind your username, then you're a stranger to them too.
Hmm.
So, and eventually you're not a stranger anymore because you keep showing up, but you did share in the excitement of them beating that level, or, you know, can I get some hype in chat? Like you want to excite your audience. And it's
Uh-huh.
not that you need to be positive, it's that that's the easiest way to make the emotional connection.
Hmm.
People are they like positivity, but it's because it's the most accessible and generally not taboo, which
Yeah.
is why we say we should talk about mental health. you know it's just another place to sit on the couch and watch someone kick it and celebrate in their successes. Whether you're competitive, there's channels for that. If you're family oriented, channels for that. If you're casual and you're just curious about a game, brands and developers activate streamers as influencers to push that.
Hmm.
Games are being made to be streamed. That game's made for streaming. That's not a gamer's game.
Hmm.
That's happening now,
Yeah.
all to attract strangers into a stream.
Hmm. And when you put it that way, I liken it to why we enjoy watching sports a little bit. We don't really know the players personally necessarily, but something resonates, and there's a reason we choose to cheer
Mhm.
for a certain team. So I imagine that these spectators are just finding teams and people that they like rooting for, and they like their
Mhm.
personality, they like the way they play. So yeah, I do see some parallels there.
I mean, put it
So
this way: if I asked you straight up, would you tune in to not a Britney session, but one of her, perpetual behind the scenes collaborators was like, "This is my music studio. This is where we wrote this
mhm,
Britney hit.
mhm.
I'm gonna write one right now. If you guys just kick it,
Yeah.
would you tune into that?"
Oh yeah, I watch all Britney stuff. But I don't know, for me, gaming, like, wouldn't you just, why is that more fun than playing yourself? You know?
Because depending on when you can access the game, like I'll be at work,
Mhm.
like I just said, I do time blocking, so I can't fully commit to it, and I'm curious about that level.
Uh-huh.
Maybe I want and trust that streamer enough to give me their insight and opinion of the game. And
Mhm.
that's the influencer relationship. But
Mhm.
maybe I don't care about their opinion and I just want to know how to beat the level. So, I want a
Yeah.
tactic, or I want to share in the excitement of, oh my God, this new DLC is coming out. Everybody's tuning in. Oh, let's check
Mhm.
it out together. I'm so hyped. I can't wait to get home and play it. Can't wait to get home and play it. So,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. It's maybe I'm, just kind of stating what's obvious to me, but not to you, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
you can hide behind the multiple names that I admittedly have.
Mm-hmm.
You can create a different personality visually. No one has to know that I have two kids. We're all just gamers. It's all equal footing.
Mm-hmm.
Your name doesn't come with ASL.
Yeah. Right.
In there. You're just a gamer.
Right. And you just reminded me of something. I remember growing up, my brother was more into gaming than I was, but he would buy these books that were like, I don't know if they called them cheat codes or what, but
Strategy guides.
yeah, and like they had all the shortcuts in them and things you didn't know about the game, and they would tell you how to beat them. I guess Twitch is really just demonstrating that in a live format where you have an actual person versus digging through a book looking for, certain shortcuts and how to play. You have someone that is going through it live. So I get it now.
Gaming creators and gaming YouTubers have killed that industry.
Yeah.
Because that's what they do. They make YouTube videos and they do walkthroughs and they do best strat guides and farming tactics, and they just get very niche about it, and they're accessible. So they will react to their audience's opinion and say, "Oh, you guys didn't like that video, so I'm going to do this." We have sway. We invest and we get rewarded for our care in your channel. So that's why it's worth it to watch a stranger.
So tell me about your platform on Twitch and what you use it for. I know, you game, but you also seem to be building your own community. What are you doing on there?
Yeah, I've definitely put that thing on the roller coaster. I don't have unified brand management. I'm Twitch TV/part-time with the number 1 in it. I'm not even Fighting Wordsmiths. It's all organic happenstance for me. I think my Twitch channel is a direct result of my exploration process. I was a gamer. I picked up the game. I broadcasted it because I wanted to improve at the game. And they said, well, you should record footage. And Twitch was free. What do you call it? Free recordings because they have video on demand. So I'd record a session and I'd go back and watch it. And I'd say, oh, okay, maybe I can make improvements here because I play a lot of first person shooters. And then people started tuning in because they were curious about it. And then one thing leads to another. And then I have a community and I have subscribers and they enjoy my personality. And then I decided that I don't want to be a community leader because that gets exhausting, having to entertain so many people's opinions and be there for people. And as a father too, I can't have my head in my phone all the time because so-and-so wanted to do this with that and the whatever. I was like, but I do love streamers. So how can I help? And how can I continue to pivot that? And so that's when I came up with, trying to marry marketing and branding concepts, potentially with digital strategy, depending on how much that is. But a lot of that is admittedly self-taught. And I have been in marketing for 10 years as a proposal writer, business to business. I work on proposals for products that are very expensive and stupid to me. But thanks for the money, by the way. But that's not my love. Like my love is gaming. So I kept trying to find a way to take the audience that was there, and I was fortunate to have and be grateful and say, well, how can I best serve you? And people ask me questions. Well, you do marketing, right? What do you do? So then it became slowly, let's take down all those gaming videos and only put these maybe how-tos up. And so then I was like, well, I don't want to be an influencer of influencers because that's stupid to me. I don't want to spend my time doing that. I'm more of a coach, teacher, old guy in the locker room type deal. So that's what it became. Now I have a room full of smaller streamers who are interested in pivoting and transitioning their brand, establishing themselves as a brand and not a streamer. And they're starting to understand that you don't define yourself by Twitch. You don't build your brand on rented land and all of those things. So it's like, well, who are you? And why don't you just use Twitch as one of your channels the way the NBA has a Twitch and a Twitter? If those servers go down, those brands are still making money. What's to stop you from doing that? So, I want to empower streamers to do that. And that's where we are now. I have a Discord, and really Twitch is just now a live demonstration, almost meeting minutes of me walking through one-to-one brand coaching and some creative content assessment, just working with kids or young guys, young people one-to-one.
Yeah, and if you're going to have those conversations anyway, why not do it live? Why not bring other people in and let them learn as well? And, same thing with Timbaland. He's going to cut that beat already. You might as well just, hey, press a button, stream it, get the hype out earlier. So I think it's it's society becoming more comfortable with just letting people be a fly on the wall in what you're already doing, and tapping into that interest and building an audience that way. And I think it makes us more efficient because it's just, hey, let me just press a button and here we go.
On-demand knowledge and education. Like,
Yeah.
Google it. Well, now it's just look it up. I'm sure someone's doing a live stream on it now, and you can ask them a question directly. You don't have to skip forward. You can literally ask that person right there.
Yeah.
And I'm becoming more comfortable in the marketing Twitch broadcast. I don't think anybody else is there. I saw some other people say something about it the other day, and I was like, that's my thing. But then I remembered, but we don't have the same audiences. So my group's here, and I consistently try to remind myself to, as Joe Ray in Pop Chat says, serve my tribe. So I'm making content specific for them, to them, about them, and I'm basing my success on how they perceive it and making adjustments as if any teacher would in a classroom full of people willing to learn. So I just got to remember that I'm not doing this to be an influencer. I don't want an audience. So as much as I see other people being successful and I get imposter syndrome or something, the Twitch channel is just me broadcasting a training or like a workout and allowing people to comment on it.
Yeah.
So, you just got to be open to it.
Yeah, and it sounds like you're grooming the next generation of streamers. So what would you say is the future of streaming? And can you also talk about the difference between gamers and streamers?
For sure, yeah. Which is, I just made a video on that last night. My first video, just kind of vlog style. I didn't do any cool YouTube edits with the words and the pops and the ADA accessibility. I didn't do any of that. It was literally just for that little group to talk about and remind them. As a small streamer, sometimes you can get frustrated in myself too, because I am a very small streamer. If you have less than 50 subs, you're like a micro streamer. So, but the goal is to have 100% conversion rate is what I always remind them. So if I have 2 people in chat, my goal is to get them to return so often and provide such high quality content that it's worth investing in, which is just a nicer way to say have them subscribe. So that being said, the future of streaming, I honestly do believe, is educational content. I believe there's, in the next 5 years, going to be a common census of let's just see if someone's broadcasting that live, and I'll just ask that person right now. And you're starting to see platforms create access to celebrity with that notion too. I forgot what it's called, but you can pay some, like a celebrity. Someone paid Redman to give them hip hop advice, and it costs like $200 or something like that. So people are finding ways to monetize and productize their intellect and experience, which is in my just educational content. So we can be a little more formal about it and, make a formal class and curriculum and have scheduled meetings. And it's just like going to school, So as somebody with a degree dropped out and then got that degree, I use some of it. But I still have that discipline of, I will use this time during the week to educate myself and then talk about it with other people. So I think that's the future of streaming, really.
So Twitch already does have that capability where you can put a paywall behind some of your streams?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
You can definitely do streaming to subscribers only. You can put chat in subscriber only mode temporarily if you want. If like you get some like trolls that pop in there, you can just lock it down, boom. Or if you're so big, some big brand name, I don't know, name drop, but there's some streamers that only do subscriber only mode because there's so much happening and so many attendees in chat. You don't even talk to them anymore. You don't.
Yeah. So subscribers are only paid subscribers.
Correct. Oh, yes. In terms of Twitch, yes. Because like on YouTube, the word subscribe means like follow. Yeah. Right.
So does each user determine what their subscription fee, their membership fee is? Or is it a flat rate across all of Twitch? Or do you get to determine like, I'm going to pay Mariah Carey to more to teach me about singing than maybe a local voice coach or something. So would that vary? Are they able to set their own rates?
So Twitch offers, because they're owned by Amazon, it's specific to Twitch, they offer the Twitch Prime, which is one free subscription a month for the user to use once a month. And you have to manually go in and use your Twitch Prime. They also offer tier 1, 2, and 3, 5, 15 and I think 25.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're fortunate enough to get somebody to give you a tier 3 sub, that's somebody saying, I'll give you $25 a month, which is the equivalent of someone running a Patreon, which is the equivalent of somebody running an OnlyFans, which is the equivalent of somebody using the join function on YouTube versus the subscribe on Twitch. So it's just paid premium membership. So Twitch does a good job, and they do like, September, which admittedly just this last September was a joke. Because the financial split is, I think it's 70-30 Amazon's way. And then when you make partner, which is partner status, you can negotiate 50-50. So you split those subscriptions right down the middle. And now they're running ads too. So subscribers, you can skip past the ads.
I had no idea you could monetize like that.
Oh, it's insane.
Wow.
It is. They came hard, and it's hitting all of the streamers like a ton of bricks. And here I am running around, the sky's falling. I told you so. I told you big business is coming. I told you big business is coming. I told you we are the next influencer demographic. Get ready. They're going to farm us. Get ready. And you can do business with them if you want to take a check, but make sure it's on your own terms. Like, I don't want none of y'all walking around here surprised because you violated some contract. You accidentally didn't talk about their stream or whatever. So just understanding who the stakeholders are and how the processes work is where I like to help people. And then if they want, I can help them a step further with particular brand management, customize to you. And it is an investment in return for sure for viewers. You don't want to pay for a bunch of crappy streams.
Yeah. Right. Well, man, there's always something new, always something we have to keep our eyes on. And you have convinced me to keep my eyes on Twitch. Maybe I'll even make an account after this and check things out. As I mentioned, Nick Carter is now on Twitch. So, I have to at least join that.
You're seeing so many musical artists activate their audiences on Twitch. And the way that they do it is probably of the Gen Z bucket demographic or whatever, but also at the same time, understand, just like TikTok, people understand that millennials are coming into TikTok now. So the same thing's happening with streaming. We as consumers are just getting used to consuming digital content on demand with whatever schedule works for us. So it makes sense for Nick Carter to be on there. Because, some people, like the running joke is, oh, you guys didn't even know who Fleetwood Mac was? Yeah. This guy just... you had to look it up, but that's the power of social media is no, they didn't. You can judge them, sure, but they know now because so-and-so, just created an energy that was worth relating to a point that he got an RV, $10,000 and, Ocean Spray, of course, stepped in. Now everybody's commenting on that. I'm like, whatever. Yeah. You guys didn't do anything. You just did the honest thing. Cause if you didn't, you're getting free advertisements. So
right.
You did ethically the correct thing, but you didn't do anything for that.
Yeah, I think that's such a good point because I think a lot of times musicians or brands, they feel pigeonholed. Like the Backstreet Boys feel like, oh, we can only talk to 90s kids and that's our audience and we're a 90s group. But why not try to reel in those younger audiences? And we saw it with Fleetwood Mac and Dreams. And,
so he recreated that too. So he was on the longboard drinking the drummer bro.
Yeah.
That's his name.
Mike Fleetwood. Yeah.
Jim Blossom. Yeah, I'm like, drummer bro. Don't tell anybody I said that. Gin Blossoms, they are doing a tour before the pandemic. And I was like, those guys are still pulling? And I saw that they have incentivized tickets. You can buy tickets of these tiers and you get a free signed guitar or you get a raffle ticket for a signed guitar. I bet you, I can almost guarantee you now that if they activated on Twitch, they would be hot.
Yeah. Yeah. And you want to build brands that are built to last. So don't just stop at one generation. Gen Z is coming in hot. There's going to be a group after that. So why not try to just, create a brand that's the more the merrier. We can all enjoy this music. We can all enjoy this era or this generation.
Pivot, transition, pivot, transition.
Right.
You just, why? Because then Timbaland would have been left in the early 2000s if he didn't constantly reapply his music to the next generation in an intelligent and appealing way.
So true.
He can translate and transcend generations now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you have blown my mind with all of this. Is there anything else you would want to add about Twitch? Anything other brands should really know and have on their radar about this platform?
Yeah, Twitch is hot. Twitch is white hot. Twitch is like TikTok. We talk about TikTok more. The numbers are there. You can Google it. The brands are there. So if you're just now showing up, you're late to the game.
Yeah.
It might be considering how to apply your brand to that audience. Once you understand that audience, like we're not just geeks. We don't just go to cons.
Right.
We're people of many ages and different socioeconomic backgrounds too. So it's kind of hard when you look at the data to just feel like a piece of data. So just remember that we're people as you integrate your Travis Scott burger.
Yeah.
Mandatory ad. 45 seconds of my life gone every single time, every stream. Imagine if every time you change the channel, you had to watch a 45-second commercial. It's not user friendly. They're actually turning people away. So that's what I would say.
Wow.
Know your group, make your decisions, because as consumers of stream or Twitch, a lot of us are kind of, what's happening? What's happening? You're not taking care of us. What's happening?
Absolutely.
So, that's the way
so I think you mentioned your handle. It's part-time1 on Twitch. Like, where can people follow you? Where can people join your lives?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. And I'm sorry, it's not one unified thing. I'm working on that next year. This year was specifically for market research and test and building some use cases for Fighting Wordsmiths. I am Fight Wordsmiths on Twitter, and that's what I prefer. My kind of marketing Twitter is what I call it. Otherwise, I am One Word Part-Time Ninja. That's my personal account, like me as a gamer on Twitter. So there are two. And then on Twitch, correct, I'm part-time, but PARTT1ME.
Okay, got it.
Because that's leet speak like a gamer. So yeah, there's that. And honestly, most of my work gets done in the DMs and Discord. So I have a Discord, which I guess you can post later if you care. And it's open and totally free. I use it as kind of like a classroom. So if you join, you can talk and participate. And some of the pop chat people are in it.
Yes, I've heard Joe Ray's in it. You guys are friends.
Jesse.
Love it.
Jesse's in it.
Jesse? Oh, cool. Shout out to the pop chat crew. I also want to thank someone I don't know if you know yet. Her name is Jenny. She does social for NBA 2K. And I told her that I was talking with you about Twitch today. And she was generous enough to give me a code for you to use NBA 2K. So I will DM that to you. Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you. That is great.
Yeah. As a thank you from both of us. I was so blown away.
Have you seen the promotional graphics and videos for that?
No.
It looks real.
Yeah.
They put the mannerisms of the players in the game. Like Steph Curry chewing his mouthpiece and the way he dribbles and his like body language. They programmed that in the game. It's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
They're doing fantastic things.
I did see that meme, that how it started versus how it's going meme.
That's serious.
With the graphics side by side.
That's real. It's not a game. The next gen consoles are, it's frightening.
Yeah. Crazy.
Very, very good.
Well, I've got my eye on it now. Thank you so much. I'll send you that code for Xbox. And thank you for sharing your Twitch wisdom with us.
Thank you for having me. And I love being a part of your community. Thank you for reaching out to me and just being who you are. You mean a lot to me. Thank you.
Likewise. Thank you. If you're a fan of this podcast, be sure to subscribe. Or better yet, leave a review. You can also join my Twitter chat at #PopChat for weekly pop culture discussions you can actually learn from. If you have an idea for an episode, shoot me a DM at Brianne2K. As always, thanks for listening.